Okay, let me start. In this lecture, I am going to talk about noise. The noise will contaminate the received signal. Suppose, let's say, this is your transmitted signal, and the transmitted signal goes via the channel. In the channel, noise enters. Okay, and the received signal is contaminated by noise. So, you will get R of T. R of T contains contaminated version of S of t. Therefore, R of t is equal to your transmitted signal S of t plus some noise. So this noise is additive nature. That is why I put a plus sign here. So this is called additive noise. Okay. Suppose let's say my transmitted signal is passband signal. That is the real part of SR times it is modulated by in phase carrier minus SR of t, then it is modulated by quadrature carrier sine of 2 pi f naught t. Okay, so this is your transmitted signal. In digital communication systems, we will assume the noise is wide sense stationary. So we in short form we say WSS, wide sense stationary, and this is also called covariance stationary. Covariance stationary. Either you can call wide sense stationary or covariance stationary. And the definition of wide sense stationary is precisely the definition of covariance sense stationary. So both are same. Okay. When I say covariance stationary, that means the covariance function depends only on tau. Covariance function depends only on tau. Tau means what? Time difference. That means not the individual time instances at which the two random variables are sampled. Suppose you have a random process like this. Okay, random process like this. You sample at a time instance, let's say t1. Once you sample it, and this sample value is a random variable, and this becomes n sub t1, right? So this is a random process. It evolves over time. This is time axis and this is your amplitude, and you sample the random process at time t1, you'll get one random variable. Again, sample at some other time instance t2. You are having two random variables here, nt sub 1 and nt2. These two random variables, you find the covariance. The covariance function depends on the time difference t2 minus t1. It does not depend on where you are taking the samples. You can take the samples here. Let's say this is t3, and how many points? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. You take the sample at this point, and this is t4. Now if you will get another random variable. Let's say this is nt3 and this is nt4. If you find the covariance, then again this covariance of this random variable, covariance of nt1 and nt2 will be the same of covariance of nt3 and nt4. That means the covariance function depends on only the time difference, not on the absolute time where you are taking the samples. That is the main point I want to say here. So now if you look at the expected value of there are two random variables nt1 and nt2, the covariance stationary function is only depends on t2 minus t1 or t1 minus t2, either way, whichever you take it. Okay, rather than separately of t1 and t2. That means where you are taking the sample. So that kind of noise process or random process, which are called either wide sense stationary. People say wide sense stationary or covariance stationary. And of course the second point is mean is constant or zero. That also you need to remember. Mean is constant or it can be zero. So in general, we can talk the noise also to be a complex valued random processes. Okay, if when I say complex, then it has both a real part and the imaginary part. So because when you transmit a signal S of t through a channel, the channel, the noise gets added, and this is your R of t, and this R of t is given to the demodulator, right? So in the demodulator, essentially what we are doing down conversion, right? When you do down conversion, that means you are moving from passband to down conversion means what? Passband to baseband. Passband to baseband. That's what essentially we are doing. How do you do the down conversion? See, this is your received signal R of t, and that received signal contains in phase component and the quadrature phase component. Let's say this R of t equal to your transmitted signal S of t plus some noise, right? So the noise I can the transmit signal I can write in terms of the in phase component modulated by in phase carrier, then minus SR of t times modulated by quadrature carrier, then some plus noise. Now this is a passband signal. I want to bring back to baseband signal. How do you do that? Take this signal, pass it to the cos of 2 pi f naught multiply and put a low pass filter, then you will get a SR of t. And similarly here you put a sine quadrature carrier sine 2 pi f naught t and put a low pass filter, so that the highest frequency component will be rejected, removed by this low pass filter. Here you will get a S sub I of t. I'm sorry, this is S sub I. Now S sub I of t. S sub I of t. Now you don't get not only S sub R of t and S sub I of t, you also get some noise. Let's say this is in phase noise N R of t, and this is some quadrature phase noise N sub I of t. So these two noises will occur. Therefore, my noise is now no more real. It is a complex valued random process once you do the down conversion. So it has a real part and imaginary part. Therefore, I can write my noise as the real part in the baseband actually. And this is in baseband, not in the passband. Baseband NR of t plus J times NI of t. So this is a noise in the baseband. And this is a reasonable assumption that both the real and imaginary parts have identical power spectral density function if they exist. Okay, let's call the power spectral density of in short, let me say power PSD, power spectral density of NR of t is N of f, and power spectral density of Ni of t also N of. This is a reasonable assumption, okay, in any noise process, especially in our digital communication. We will assume that way. It's a reasonable, quite reasonable assumption that both the real part and the imaginary part, if they exist, have identical power spectral density function. Now this power spectral density function is called by N of f. Now N sub R of t as well as N sub I of t have power spectral density function which is the same, have the same kind of power spectral density function. Now it is a fairly reasonable assumption for most kind of noise that we encountered in real life, in practice. And you must keep this picture, okay, this physical picture. This is a physical picture, how you are getting or thinking or telling like the noise is a complex valued process behind each of these complex signals. So this is a kind of thing that you might see on the quadrature channels. This is a in phase channel and this is the quadrature channel. Okay, so after you do the down conversion, then from once you do the down conversion, what you are doing, essentially you are doing or converting the passband signal into a baseband signal or baseband representation, passband representation to baseband representation. So it should be a quadrature signal, and it contains in phase noise and a quadrature noise. So this is your in phase noise, and this is your quadrature phase noise, quadrature noise. typically they will have identical characteristics or spectral characteristics. When I say they have identical characteristics, then there is a relation that power spectral density and its time domain expression, that is autocorrelation function. So we can talk about autocorrelation function of the process. Since they have identical characteristics, identical power spectral characteristics, obviously they will have identical autocorrelation function also, because once you take the autocorrelation function, this autocorrelation function is denoted by phi of tau, autocorrelation function. So if you take autocorrelation function Fourier transform, it's a pair actually, Fourier transform pair, then you'll get a power spectral density function n of f, right? Therefore this is phi of tau, and now see, the n of f is the power spectral density function of n r of t. So therefore if you take inverse, then phi of tau will get. So autocorrelation function of n r of t in phase component equal to phi tau. Similarly, autocorrelation function of n sub I of t quadrature component, this also has phi tau. So identical power spectral density function. So n of f is a power spectral density function, right? And phi tau is the autocorrelation function. Now we know the relation that autocorrelation function and power spectral density function both are Fourier transform pairs. They are Fourier transform pairs. So now let us find out the autocorrelation function of n of t. What is the autocorrelation function of n of t, small n of t? N of t. Okay, now it's very easy to prove. Maybe I'll do it quickly. So autocorrelation function is phi of tau is equal to expected value of, you take n of t times n of t plus tau, right? Now you substitute n of t. N of t is n of t plus n r of t times plus j times n I of t multiply by real part t plus tau plus j times n I of t plus tau. You multiply term by term. So this is going to be expected value of n r of t times n r of t plus tau plus j times n r of t times n I of t plus tau, right? Then plus j times n I of t times n r of t plus tau plus minus j times j minus, so n I of t times n r of, this is n, this is also n I of t plus tau. Now since expectation is a linear operation, you can take expectation inside. So this is n r of t times n r of t plus tau plus j times expected value of n r of t times n r of t times n I of t plus tau plus expected value of j times n I of t times n r of t plus tau minus expected value of n I of t times n I of t plus tau. Now look at here, this is also in phase component and this is a time delayed version of in phase component. So this I can say the phi of tau, okay, autocorrelation function of the real component, okay. And here this is a in phase component and this is a quadrature phase component, and in phase component and quadrature phase components both are uncorrelated, and uncorrelatedness would imply independent for Gaussian noise. Therefore this leads to 0, uncorrelated. And here also this is in phase component and this is quadrature phase component and this leads to 0. and here this is quadrature component and this also quadrature component, and this gives the autocorrelation phi of tau. Therefore your expected autocorrelation function phi tau, let me call this is phi n tau. This is the autocorrelation function of n of t. Okay, so therefore autocorrelation function of n of t equal to phi nn of t, sorry, phi nn of tau, which is equal to phi nn of tau, and this is equal to what, phi of tau plus 0 plus 0 plus phi of tau. So this is 2 times phi of tau. So this is a relation between the autocorrelation function of n of t and its quadrature components, 2 times of your phi of t. Only the scaling factor is coming here, 2 times of that. And the important note is uncorrelatedness of two random variables would imply independence on the random variable if and only if the random variables are Gaussian, and in this case the noise process is Gaussian, so we assume in our communication system that noise is Gaussian random variable. So that is the relationship between a complex noise autocorrelation function and individual components, in phase component and the quadrature component. This is the autocorrelation function of complex noise. N of t is a complex noise, right? So it is a complex noise. And this is the autocorrelation function of in phase component or quadrature component. Autocorrelation function of in phase component. In phase component or quadrature phase component. Okay, so if your noise was strictly real valued, so there is a special case. In general, we wrote n of t as a complex noise, right? N sub r of t in phase component plus quadrature component ni of t. Now, in case if your noise is strictly real valued, in that case what will happen? This ni of t will go to 0. So strictly nr of t. So in this case, what is your autocorrelation function? It is very easy. So n of t, if you find phi nn of t, phi nn of tau, that is expected value of n of t times n of t plus tau. So you can substitute here expected value of nr of t times nr of t plus tau. And what is this? This is the autocorrelation function of phi autocorrelation function of nr of t, right? So therefore that is going to be phi of tau. So if it is a real random variable, then the autocorrelation function of complex process will be the same as the autocorrelation function of the real component. Then what will happen to the power spectral density? So power spectral density of n of t, which is equal to 2 times n of f if it is complex process, and power spectral density of nr of t is equal to n of f, and power spectral density of n sub I of t is equal to n of f. This is one part, keep it aside. Then autocorrelation function of n of t is equal to 2 times phi of tau. Autocorrelation function of real in phase component n sub r of t equal to phi of tau. The autocorrelation function of n sub I of t is equal to phi of tau, right? And then what else? The point I want to summarize here. And if it is a real case, real noise, then autocorrelation function of n of t is equal to phi of t. Autocorrelation function of n sub I of t is equal to again phi of 2. In this case both are same. Similarly, power spectral density of real noise equal to n of f. Power spectral density of real noise uh, n r of t, this also equal to n of f. These are the summary points. So these are the points we need to remember. And the relation between your autocorrelation function and your power spectral density function is given by Fourier transform pairs, and this is obtained by the theorem called the Wiener-Kinsen's theorem. W-I-E-N-E-R, Wiener-Kinsen's theorem. So Wiener-Kinsen's theorem will give the relation between the power spectral density and the autocorrelation function. So if you take the Fourier transform of autocorrelation function, you'll get power spectral density. If you take inverse Fourier transform, then inverse Fourier transform of your power spectral density function, then you will get a autocorrelation function. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about noise yeah, and this concept we are going to use in our demodulation of your digital demodulators. Okay, so because your noise is contaminated, your signal is contaminated by noise, your noise contaminates the signal, so therefore we need to know how to handle this noise. So how to model it and how to process it and how it behaves whenever you are working from pass band signal to base band signal. Okay, so at this point let me stop. So the next class we will continue from this point. Thank you very much.